Have you ever been lost or stuck somewhere completely unfamiliar to you? But that's what life is like for a recently deported undocumented immigrant who arrived here as a child. So today, I'm going to talk about the issue of the deportation of dreamers or undocumented immigrants who arrived here as children and how it's unjust and how DACA simply isn't enough to protect these immigrants. According to an article titled Fact Sheet Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, posted by immigrationforum.org on October 16th, 2020, there are 3.6 million dreamers in the United States, but only 650,000 of them are currently protected under DACA, and that protection only lasts for a period of 2 years at a time. As residents of Southern California with our high immigrant population, there is a likely chance that we know someone who is currently protected under DACA or someone who is an unprotected immigrant themselves. I believe I'm qualified to talk about this subject because I've done extensive research on this issue, and I know a few people who are protected under DACA as well, and I've had several conversations with them, and I've gotten to know a lot about the DACA process and the immigration process. So in this speech, I'm going to explain the issue of the deportation of dreamers and how DACA isn't enough to protect them. So in this speech, I will first explain the problems that deported dreamers face. Secondly, I will explain the causes of this issue, and lastly, I will explain the solutions that we have to help fix this issue. First, let's talk about the problems that deported immigrants face. Although dreamers are technically illegal immigrants, the United States is the only home that they've ever known. According to an article titled Young Migrants Return is More Exile Than Homecoming, published by the New York Times on March 24th, 2018, it states how Lalo Aguilar, a recently deported dreamer, experienced nothing but exile when he returned back to his home country in Mexico. It explains how hard it is to find a job for these dreamers due to the fact that they have no adult experience in their birth country, and that can mean it's very hard to fit in socially, and it's very hard to find work or even get an education. It is also dangerous. Deported dreamers face the risk of homelessness and violent crime almost immediately. In an article titled What Happens When You Get Deported, posted by yesmagazine.org on February 4th, 2020, it states that the border security agents actually seize their shoelaces and belts, and that makes them vulnerable and makes them stand out to anyone looking to cause them harm. Now that I've explained the problems that deported immigrants face, I'm now going to explain the causes of this issue. The first cause is that the time period of DACA simply is not enough. The time period that DACA permits residency is only 2 years at a time. In an article titled Without Action, More DACA Recipients Could See Permits Expire, posted on August 15, 2019 by immigrationforum.org, it states how 40 to 50,000 permits come close to expiring every single month, and if not renewed, these dreamers can face deportation if law enforcement deems it necessary. Also, along with that, the increased pressure to get rid of DACA by President Donald Trump is also an issue that makes the future of undocumented immigrants and dreamers uncertain. Under Donald Trump's leadership, DACA was only processing renewals, and they weren't accepting any new applicants. So any new dreamer that was eligible was no longer able to apply to get 2 years permanent residency. So that means that we need to look for an option that is more stable and lasts a longer period of time, so undocumented immigrants don't have to keep on refiling for this protection. In an article titled Despite Supreme Court Ruling, DACA Rejects New Applicants, posted by NPR.org on February 4th, 2020, it states that under Donald Trump's 4-year presidency, that they were not accepting any new applications, and that the only thing that they were doing were renewals. Now that I've explained the causes, I'm now going to explain some solutions to help fix this issue. A bill that I'm advocating for is H.R. 6, the American Dream and Promise Act. This bill would allow dreamers who meet certain criteria, similar to DACA, to apply for residency for a period of 10 years at a time. This is significantly longer than the DACA residency, and that in and of itself is a great improvement. According to an article published by Congress.gov titled H.R. 6 American Dream and Promise Act, it states the Department of Homeland Security shall provide conditional permanent status to an undocumented alien for a period of 10 years if they meet the requirements. A personal solution would be to donate to the nonprofit organization called BorderAngels.com. On their website, BorderAngels.com, it explains how they are a nonprofit organization dependent on volunteers whose main goal is to push for social justice, immigration reform, as well as human rights. So if you donate to them, your money is in great hands, and all these dreamers who are struggling every single day will get the help that they need through the Border Angels. Now that I've discussed some solutions to help with this issue, let's include. Today, I first explained the problems immigrants face when they get deported. Secondly, I explained the solution. Secondly, I explained the causes of this issue, and lastly, I explained the solution that we have to help fix this issue. And the topic today that I chose was the issue of the deportation of dreamers or immigrants who arrived here as children. And just remember what it would be like to be lost in a place completely unfamiliar to you, and to think that that is what an undocumented immigrant who arrived here as a child faces once they are deported back to their birth country that they have little to no recollection of.